In a moment, we will begin with Pratna. Om, Om, Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. अखंडमंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जंगमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्च चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापित्यत सर्वं त्रिलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितं भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितं पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम्। अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतस्तुवन्ति देवैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावसित्तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। Following this, we will have a dhyan for the preparation of our Gita study. Om. 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 We are in chapter 14, and last time we stopped at stanza number 18, so we will continue from that point on. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasaha. Now he is describing the position, like where do they stand. So he says the people who are in sattvic, they move on higher. Urdhvam gacchanti. Madhya tishtanti rajasaha. And in the middle are rajasic people. Jaganya guna vrittistha adaha gacchanti tamasaha. But about the tamas, the people with tamas, they continue with the functioning of the lower gunas, and their position is downward. So there is an effect of what type of guns we possess or we continue our life uh, all along. Now, there is an importance coming here. Do we have to live with one of the gun, or can we do something better? So that is coming here. Na anyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyah cha param vetti madbhavah saha adhigacchati. What he says is when the seer does not see anything except the gunas, he thinks that everything is, all the activities are carried on by gunas only, and there is nothing other than that. Then he knows him who is higher than the gunas. He enters into my being. That person can enter me. That person can rise above all the gunas, and he can reach me. So there is an advantage of rising above the gunas and reach him. You may think, like, what kind of examples are there where people rised above the gunas, people did not rise above the gunas, what are the effects of that? And there are a couple of examples. When Sri Krishna requested Yudhishthira that, hey, just say that Drona's son, Aswathama, is killed. And here we go, Yudhishthira, totally in the sattvic guna. One of the characteristics you all might have observed going through the Mahabharata, that all the Pandavas were in sattvic guna. And that created the difficulty. They never rise above the sattvika. And see what happened. So he did not want to say Aswatthama is killed. So here comes Sri Krishna. And since he was already above the three gunas, he made a suggestion to Yudhishthir. Hey, you can still be sattvic by adding one little thing to the sentence, and you will rise above the sattvic guna as well. So he says, say this way, Aswattama hatah, Aswattama hanayo, naro va kunjaro va. Oh. See, what a beautiful thing. That sattvikta is maintained, but he has risen above the sattvikta. That is one of the good examples. But there are also examples like when they lost in the dice game, and a lot of horrible situations arise, but they did not go beyond the sattvikta. Same thing, Bhishma. And in the entire Mahabharata, if you see the beauty of that, that was the issue there, that they never arise, never crossed the boundary and went above the sattvikta. So that is what the point here made. So I think one of the beauty of the Gita is it has a tremendous scientific way of doing the things in a very higher level. Na anyam gunebhyah kartaram yada drashta anupashyati gunebhyah cha param vetti madbhava saha adhigacchati. And what he says is, when the seer perceives no agent other than the gunas and knows him who is higher than the gunas, he enters into my being. So that is the point he is making, that you want to rise above the gunas. Gunani etani atitya. Actually, it should be gunan etan atitya. Sometimes the sandhi is a little bit kind of challenges you. So here it is gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukhaihi vimuktah amrutam ashnute. He is saying that the embodied one, Dehi means embodied one who has assumed the Deha. The embodied one having crossed over these three gunas out of which the body is evolved. Deha samudbhavan. The Dehi is generated according to the gun the person has. And when that person is crossing over these three gunas, then he is freed from birth, death, decay, and pain, and attains to immortality. So see what happens. When a person go beyond the guna, there is an advantage there. Now, this question is coming here in stanza number 21. Arjuna is asking the question, which is very similar to one of the stanza we already studied long time ago. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. He was asking in chapter number 2. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha. Samadhisthasya keshava. Sthita dihi kim prabhashyat. And so on. So he's asking the question, how is the Sthita Prajna behaving? What are his characteristics? Now we are into the chapter of gunas. So he's asking very similar question. Kaihi lingaihi. By what kind of marks? Kaihi lingaihi. Trin gunan etan atitah bhavati prabhu. Actually, prabhu means, hey Prabhu. Hey Prabhu, what are the marks? Kaihi lingaihi. What are the marks of him who has crossed the three gunas? Atitah. Gunan etan atitah. These guns who have risen above those guns. Kim acharaha. What is his achar? What is his behavior? Katham cha etan trigunan ativartate. What is his conduct? And how does he rise above the gunas? So that is a marvelous question. Well, you are saying rise above the gunas, but how do we want to do that? So a very fundamental question is here. And there are answers in about 3 stanzas that are following here. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava. Nadvesti sampravruttani na nivruttani kanksati. So what he says here is, hey Pandav, one who does not hate sattva gun, activity which is rajas, and delusion which is the third one, tamas. And when they are present, he does not long after them. And when they are absent, he is not looking for them either. So what he is saying is like the balance here, the samtolan, samatvam, that is the point he is bringing. If the gunas are coming, he doesn't care about that. And if the gunas are not there, he doesn't crave for them. So he is sort of an alipta. That is one of the characteristic of that person. Further he goes, udasin avadasinaha. No, it should be udasinvat asinaha. Udasinvat means like unattached. He is sitting unattached. Gunaihi yahana vichalyate. He is not moved by the gunas. Gunaha vartanta iti eva yaha avatisthati na ingate. So look at, by the gunas, he is not like getting activated. He who is sitting like one unconcerned is moved not by the gunas. who knowing that the gunas operate in form and moves not. So the gunas, they rise, they go, whatever it is, he is not at, like, you know, uh, affected by that. Samadukha sukha swastha samaloshta ashma kanchana tulya priya apriyaha dhiraha tulya ninda atma sastuti. So he is a very balanced kind of person, balance in pleasure and pain, self-abiding, viewing a clod of earth, a stone, gold alike, the same to agreeable and disagreeable, firm, the same in censure and praise. So he is undisturbed by the duals. Duals are like they affect the person, they trigger the person to move in either direction. But this person who is balanced is not disturbed by the duals of the world. More duals are coming. Mana apmana yoho tulyaha tulyaha. There are 2 times tulyaha. The first tulya is for mana apmana yoho. The second tulya for mitra ari pakshayoho. So he is bringing more duals here. Man અને અપમાનની અંદર, મિત્ર અને દુશ્મનની સાથે. He is balanced. Sarvaramba parityagi gunatitah saha uchyate. And all the undertaking, see where is the undertaking coming? From the rajas guna. So he has no undertaking. The things just go on. And he is undisturbed by those kind of things. He further goes, Mam cha yah abhicharen, avyabhicharen. Avyabhicharen means not contaminated. Not contaminated. How the bhakti is going to be contaminated? Like if the bhakti is with the expectation, something asking from him, that is vyabhicharena, but he is asking for avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Saha gunan samatitya etan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So what he says here is Mam cha yah avyabhicharen bhakti yogen. He who serves me with an unswerving, means not one day he prays, another day he may be thinking another something, not like that. It is like a continuous flow of bhakti. He going beyond the gunas is fitted for becoming Brahman. So by continuing the bhakti, and which is unswerving, then he goes beyond the gunas. This is the answer to the question, how the person would go beyond the gunas. Brahmana hi pratishtha aham. My abode, Marugar, my house is Brahman. અને એને માટે adjective છે કે what kind of abode I have. It is amrutasya avyayasya. Amrutasya means immortal. એ ઘર કોઈ દાડો ભાંગી ના જાય. Shaswatasya dharmasya. અને ઇટર્નલ ધર્મનું ઘર એ સુખસ્ય એકાંતિકસ્ય, and also absolute bliss is there in that house. So he lives in the house of Brahman, and that house has certain properties. I am the abode of Brahman, the immortal and the immutable, the eternal dharma and absolute bliss. So he's bragging about here how the Brahman, his house is. So by this stanza, this chapter concludes. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga Nama Chaturdasho Adhyaya. In the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Brahman, the Supreme, the science of yoga and the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, this is the 14th discourse designated the yoga of the division of the three gunas. So this 14th chapter is about the gunas, and we have seen the characteristic of all the three gunas, but then at the end he says, don't just glue wherever you are in one of the guna. You better get out of the guna and rise above. So that was the message. And he also then said how to rise above the gunas. It is not an easy thing, but he is showing by unswerving bhakti that will bring the rise above the gunas. And one who has risen above the gunas, for him the door of the Brahman is open. So here we go. The chapter 13 and 14, it has the hierarchy. The Supreme Self, the boss on top of everything. Then Jivatma, which is colored by living in association with the Prakriti, and the gunas which are born out of the Prakriti, and then the body which is born according to the gunas. So see all this hierarchy. The beauty of the hierarchy is, since they are actually separate pieces, the big self, Jivatma, Prakriti, Guna, body, and along with the Prakriti, Guna, and body, in the three, there are the objects of the senses. There are 5 senses and 1 man. There are 6 entities in there also. So all this collection of different pieces are living together. And one of the confusion is living together from birth. It has created the wrong notion. The person stops seeing the Supreme Purush, then Jivatma. On the contrary, they would ask, where is he? Show me if he is there, even though he is there. Without there, the difference between the live person and the dead person would not be there. But the people don't have that sort of stretch wisdom. They want to see everything on a piece of paper. Where is he? Pathetic situation. What do we want to do with this collection of pieces? The Supreme, the Jivatma, the Prakriti, the Gun, senses, man, body. All along, if you see from chapter 2 through now chapter 14, his advice was nothing but to understand this structure first of all. Once we understand the structure, put the structure in their perspective, means try to understand who is who. That is why there is chapter 15 coming. What will happen to this body, mind, intellect, senses, guna, prakriti, what they will do? And there is a phrase coming in that chapter, asvatha. Asvatha. What he was yesterday, he is not today. So we will go over that in a little bit. But before that, we just want to solidify the notion of the structure. Since they are separate entity put together, living together, created the confusion that, oh, my body is me, my mind is me. But if you have the familiarity about the superiority that was exhibited by the Supreme, now by now you know that he is the sole authority. The rest is the modification. And so, in order to elevate, in order to see that Supreme, after putting these separate pieces in a corresponding position, like in a box, put the body in one box, mind in another box, gun in another box, prakriti in another box, jivatma in another box, and the Supreme. Except the Supreme, everything is muting every day. They are only modifications. They don't have individual existence, even though they appear to have individual existence. But that is not true. So he has proven the hypothesis here. He alone exists. He alone is the Advaita, because there is nothing else. Everything else is generated out of mutation that does not have the independent existence. So this is a tremendous help. Again, want to bring the notion of going to the corner and putting all these pieces in their respective boxes and just let this Supreme stand alone, and you will easily jump into Dhyan. You don't have to do anything. It will become like a very natural habit. It will become like automatic. You don't have to put any effort. Why so? Because that is the characteristic of the Supreme, and you are that Supreme. Tattvamasi. The theorem is proved in all these 13 and 14 chapters. Tattvamasi. Now, we'll move a little bit in chapter 15, and there is where he's bringing more complexity to this body, mind, intellect, senses, guna. All these things, he's going to add one more complexity, very frightening. He's going to add about the concept about aswatha tree. And it is so much frightening. One of the good things to Buddha, he didn't see that aswatha tree. He just saw a dead person, the old person, the person with disease, etc. He didn't see aswatha. And if he had seen the concept of the aswatha tree, he didn't have to see all those 3-4 scenarios. He would have run away right away. We will see that. How? Okay, so let's touch as much as we can today. Chapter number 15. It has a name, Purushottam Yoga. હવે એનું જ નામ આવ્યું. રાજયોગ, ભક્તિ યોગ, જ્ઞાન યોગ, એ બધું આવી ગયું આગળ. The major part of the yogas. Now he is bringing the Purushottam Yoga. And the stanza number 1 is frightening. Urdhva Moolam. જેના મૂળિયા ઉપર છે. Whose roots are above. હવે જુઓ ને આ કેવી જાતનું ઝાડ હશે. What kind of tree is that? This tree is such whose roots are above. Roots તો જમીનમાં હોય. But this tree is amazing. Urdhva Moolam. Whose roots are above. Adaha Shakham. અને ડાળ પાંખડા બધા નીચે છે. Usually the branches are above and the roots are down, but this is upside down tree he is talking about. Aswatham prahu avyayam. Usually that is called aswatham, aswatha tree. And as I said, aswatha means not the same as yesterday. રોજનું બદલાય. Every day changes. છંદાસી યસ્ય પર્ણાની. જેના પાંદડા વેદના શ્લોકો છે. કેવું કેવું ભયાનક હશે ટ્રી. પાંદડામાંથી વેદ નીકળવાનો. યહતમ વેદ સ વેદવિત. અને અહીંયા એણે આખા ચેપ્ટરનું સાર કહી દીધો. The summary of the entire chapter he has said in the end of the second sentence. Yahatam Veda. Whoever knows this tree. Which tree? The roots above, the branches down, the leaves are all the hymns of Veda. Whoever knows this tree, whoever has the knowledge of this tree, that person is called Vedavit. That person is called knower of Veda, not the person who has read the books. That is a marvelous definition he is giving in the beginning of this. But we will now go over this aswatha tree. What is he talking about? What kind of tree is that? Did anybody saw that yet? And he says, Adaha cha urdhvam prasutaha tasya shakha downward and upward. Everywhere the branches are spread. Guna pravruddha. And the gunas, the tron gunani vat kari, the three gunas, they are nourishing them. Vishaya pravalaha. The sense objects are the birds. See the comparison now. Now he's slowly telling what is that tree. That tree is not actually like a tree that we see usually outside. But this is now again coming with the ingredients that we have seen in chapter 13 and 14. He is bringing guna again, he is bringing vishaya again. Adahacha mulani anusantatani karmanubandini manusyaloke. And below is the world of man stretched forth the roots, nourishing the action. So he's describing the tree now, and we need to understand by this comparative language he's bringing, that what tree he is going to talk. And so in order to describe the tree, he says more here. Na rupam asya iha. Here he has no form. Na rupam asya iha. Tatha upalabhyate na antaha na cha adihi na cha sampratistha. So in negation, he is describing the tree. And what is the negation? Its form is not perceived here, neither its end. Na anta, not end. Eno ante nathi dekhato. Nor its existence. Nacha sampratistha. Not the existence. But such a weird tree, what is he advising now? He has a great advice here. And this stanza number 3 is going to be connected with stanza number 4. So he said, Aswatham enam, aswathane, suviruda moolam, asanga shastrena dradena chitva. Oh. So much powerful roots. Tene putela chai, sprouted all over. Suviruda moolam. Means very powerful roots. How to cut the tree? He is advising here, cut the tree. Aswathamenam suviruda moolam. Asanga shastrena dradena chitva. Dradena means with a strong desire. Asanga shastren, what kind of weapon he is saying? Unattachment is the weapon he is suggesting. With the weapon of unattachment means don't attach yourself, don't go nearby that tree. Stay away. But he says if you want to cut, you have to cut dradena. ચોક્કસ કાપી કાઢો એટલે કાપી જ કાઢો. એનું નામ ફરી લેવાનું નથી. That is what he is saying. So he is continuing in stanza number 4. That after cutting, what do you have to do? Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam. Yasmin gataha na nivartanti bhuyaha. Then that goal should be sought for. And after you cut that, then look for the goal. Going whither they do not return again. Look for the goal ke pachu e jargu uge nahi. Again that tree do not grow. That is he saying in the first line. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya. Bhuya means pachu. Again પાછું ફૂટી નહીં પડે. કાયપું એટલે કાયપું. So once cut is cut. Never go back. Stay away. तमेव च आद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसुता पुराणी. એને પછી શું કરવાનું? I seek refuge in that primeval Purush when streamed for the eternal activity. After cutting that Aswatha tree, Dradena, I will go to the Supreme Purush where all the eternal activities are sprouting. So he is doing two things. Cut the tree, stay away from there, and go to the Supreme. That kind of person has a certain characteristic. And let's see what he is saying about that. Nirmana moha, no pride, no delusion. Nir means not, man means adambar. So no pride, no delusion. Jitasanga dosha. And we have the tendency to attach ourselves to the external world. So he said, with the will of attachment conquer means don't attach to the things, ever dwelling in the self, their desires being completely stilled. So he is asking here, Adhyatmanitya vinivrutta kamaha. Vinivrutta kamaha means subdue the desires. And then dvandvaihi vimuktaha, duals, free from the duals. Sukhaduka sangaihi gachanti amudaha padam avyaya tat. And then the pair of opposites like pleasure and pain, sukhaduk, the undiluted reach that goal. The person who is not deluded will reach that goal. So the idea is to cut the tree, never go there. And this tree he is talking about is the complexity of living in sansar. And the meaning of sansar means the world around us, which is created like a tree. Every day different events happen. He is advising to cut it off. Don't go, don't have any attachment for that tree. Cut it off. And then stay with the Supreme from where all the eternal activities are flowing out. That is the advice he is saying. Na tad basayate suryaha, na shashankaha na pavakaha. The sun does not illumine, and even the moon, no fire is there. That is my supreme abode. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamma paramam mama. Again he is describing his dham, his location where he is. That is my supreme abode, going whither they don't return from there. So that is, he is talking two different ways. One side you go, there is all miseries. Another side he is pushing, go to the Brahman, and the two things are happening. You cut down the pleasure and pain tree, the sansar. For that person, there is no sansar. There is no world. He is constantly living in the Brahman, the one entity. That is what the beauty of this thing. That don't go to get the pain, pleasure, etc. Go to the place where there is the constant bliss. And now he is saying, Mameva anshaha jivaloka jivabhutaha sanatanaha. Actually speaking, it is my portion, my part, mameva anshaha. All these beings, the creatures, they are only my part. How did they become my part, and why are they different than me? Manah shashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. What exactly happened? They are my ansha, my part. But because of the 5 indriyas and 1 man, constantly pulled by the prakriti, they are going through all this phenomenon. So he is explaining scientifically that because of the prakriti, and because of the prakriti there are gunas, and because of the guna there is body. So all that thing moves in cycle here. Shariram yat avapnoti yatcha api utkramati ishvaraha. So two things are happening, assuming the body and then leaving the body. When the Lord obtains the body, so he is using the phrase here that Ishvara, which is the Jivatma now we are talking about, is part. So Jivatma is not an ordinary entity. That Jivatma is Ishvara. When the Lord obtains the body and when he leaves, atikramyati, atikramati means leaves. At that time he takes this and goes as the wind carries the scent from the sources. That is in the second line. Gruhitva etani sanyati vayuhu gandan avash gandani vashayat. So in the second line he says that all these things, when he leaves, just like the wind carries the gandh, scent, just like that, the Jivatma also takes with him different characteristics. Shrotram chaksuhu sparshanam cha rasanam granam eva cha આ 5 જે ઇન્દ્રિયની વાત ચાલે છે તે છે. These are the 5 indriyas. Adhisthaya manah cha ayam. Adhisthaya means presiding over. Presiding over what? Presiding over the ear, shrotram, eye, chakshu, the touch, sparshanam, charasanam, the taste, granam evacha, and the smell, and then the mind, manahacha ayam, and also the mind. He experiences objects. So he experiences various objects through these 6 different entities. We will probably touch this stanza number 10 and stop right there. Utkramantam. Utkramantam means departing. Utkramantam sitam vapi bunjanam va gunan vitam. Gunan vitam means connected with the gunas. Guni સાથે રહેલો. વિમૂઢાઃ ન અનુપશ્યન્તિ પશ્યન્તિ જ્ઞાનચક્ષુષઃ. So this phenomenon of the deluded do not see him who departs. When the person dies, the ignorant people, deluded, they don't see who is living now, the Jivatma, and who was there to enjoy all the objects and which has the association with the gunas. Gunanvitam means the association with the gunas. All this subtle science, the ordinary person will not figure out. But Jnana-chakshushaha, but people who have the eyes of Jnana, means the eyes of wisdom, they will see what is this phenomenon happening. I was born, the Jivatma has entered in me and now he is living. To that extent, he is describing now, and I think we will stop right here. And if there is any delusion, any question, I may spend a few minutes, and after that we will have closing prayer and we'll close the session. Anybody there? Go ahead, Deepak bhai. Your speaker. Yeah.
I have to ask my question in Gujarati.
Go ahead.
આ તમારા જ્ઞાન પ્રકાશથી અદ્વૈતનો અંદાજો આવે છે. ત્યાં પહોંચવાના પગથિયા પણ દેખાય છે.
Okay.
હજુ પહેલું પગથિયું પણ સહેજ દૂર લાગ્યા કરે છે. તો એ ડિસ્ટન્સ કાપવાનો કઈ રસ્તો હોય તો બતાવો.
એ દૂર લાગવા માંડ્યું એનો જ અર્થ એ કે હવે નજીક આવી ગયું. એ પહેલા તો દૂર છે એ જ ખબર નહીં હતી.
That's right.
હવે તો ખબર પડી ગઈ કે દૂર છે,
પણ હજી તો પહેલું પગથિયું નથી ચડાવતું.
ના, એટલે એ નજીક આવી ગયું. અને પહેલું પગથિયું ચડશો એટલે તો દોડવા માંડશો તમે.
Thank you.
દોડવા એવા માણસો કે તમે અટકવાના નથી. So everything is hunky-dory now.
Thank you.
Everything is hunky-dory. Everything is a good news. Everything is very charming news.
Credit goes to you, sir.
I am very proud of you. I am very proud of you. And the more cleanliness in our prakriti and guna and conglomeration of indriyas and the body, all that temporary structure, the more of this is in tune with the Supreme. There is no need of any sadhana for that person. I'm not joking. I'm simply not joking. You are a blessed one.
Acha, one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
નરોવા કુંજરોવા વેધર એ અસત્ય હતું, અર્ધસત્ય હતું કે સત્ય હતું? યુધિષ્ઠિરનો ઉવાચ નરોવા કુંજરોવા
Right.
અસત્ય હતું, અર્ધસત્ય હતું કે સત્ય હતું?
સત્યમાં અર્ધ આવતું જ નથી.
અર્ધ
સત્ય હોય કાં તો એ અસત્ય હોય. અને કૃષ્ણ તો અસત્ય ના બોલે. એ સત્ય જ હતું. અરે ભાઈ અશ્વત્થામા મરી ગયો. હવે શું કહે છે?
That I want to know.
હાથી હોય કે માનવ હતો? Don't give a damn. That is an intelligent addendum.
હાથી હતો કે માણસ હતો એ મને ખબર નથી એવું નથી બોલતા ને.
No, એવું નથી કહ્યું. અશ્વત્થામા મરી ગયો એ હાથી હોય કે માણસે હોય?
પણ તો અર્ધ સત્ય થવાનું, કારણ કે એમને તો ખબર હતી કે હાથી મરે.
એ અર્ધ સત્ય નથી, કારણ કે વા એની અંદર છે. હાથી અથવા ઓર,
મનુષ્ય.
હાથી અથવા મીન્સ કે ઓર છે. વા મીન્સ ઓર.
Agreed.
હાથી હોય અથવા માણસ હોય. હાથી હોય અથવા માણસ હોય. અથવાની અંદર કનેક્શન છે.
એ મને જરાક અર્ધ સત્ય લાગ્યું એટલે.
નો, એનું નામ અર્ધ.
એમને ખબર હતી કે હાથી જતો એમ. સોરી.
બધાને ખબર હતી કોણ મરી ગયું છે તે. પણ એ એડિન્ડમ ઉમેરવાથી જે પેલો સાત્વિક ગુણનો અંચડો પહેરી રાખેલો છે ટાઈટલી, તેને ફેંકી દીધો. You know, it's in Narova Kunjarova. You will have to contemplate yourself. And a difference between Pandav and Krishna. Pandavas were always tightly sticking with Sattvic Guna. Krishna was a Sattvic, but he was above the Guna. And that Narova Kunjarova is nothing but going above the Guna. That's all he is doing. He is exhibiting the additional quality to stay out of the gunas, while Pandavas, all of them, all five, they were strictly in the sattvic guna. That has created the whole Mahabharata. If one of the Pandavas would have thought that there should be a way out of this intelligently, they would have the chance to rise above the sattvic guna. And then they would have approached Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. Hey, 5 ગામ નહીં જેવા કૃષ્ણએ માગેલા તેવા નહીં. સિદ્ધે સિદ્ધું અર્ધું રાજ આપી દે. સિદ્ધે સિદ્ધું જે અમારું છે. અને ના આપવું હોય તો જે રસ્તો અમારે છૂટકો નથી તે અમે લઈ લઈશું. That was rising above the guna. They didn't do that. Another example, when they start playing the chess, they knew that there is cheating going on here. They knew that. Even knowing that they
continued.
are not able to rise above the sattvic guna. ઉભો રે ભાઈ, તારો શકુની રમવાનો છે તો અમારો કૃષ્ણ રમશે અમારી સાથે. That was fair and square. They didn't do that. So there are ડગલે ને પગલે પ્રોબ્લેમ છે અહીંયા. એક જગ્યાએ નથી, ને પગલે અહીંયા તો પ્રોબ્લેમથી ભરેલું છે. અને કૃષ્ણને અમથું કઈ આવું પડ્યું કે આ તો ગાંડપણની હદ વટી ગયેલી છે અહીંયા. You know? So he came. યદા યદા હિ ધર્મસ્ય ગ્લાનિર્ભવતિ ભારત. ગ્લાની જોયું એણે શબ્દ વાપર્યો છે. ધર્મની ગ્લાની જ્યારે જ્યારે થાય છે તો આ જે સાત્વિકતાનો અતિરેક એમાં એક ગ્લાની આવી ગયેલી. અને હવે મારે જવા વગર છૂટકો જ નથી. અને many people say, oh, if Krishna is supreme, he could have done this, he could have done that. But if you mathematically go stepwise, he also asked, 5 ગામ આપવા અમને. એક બેગરની હેસિયતથી જે આટલો સુપ્રીમ છે. He proved at the end that ભીમની ગદાથી દુર્યોધનની જાંગ ફાટે એ જ એ લોકોને જોઈએ છે, બીજું જોઈતું નથી. Think about it. Just one has to really, really minutely think all these events, you know. He could have done some miracle and done other way. But was that the path the other people were looking for? No, they were not looking for the other path. So, the personality of Sri Krishna, I tell you, I'm reading the Mahabharata nowadays, and which has 1,00,000 એના શ્લોક છે. 100,000. તો ધારો કે હું રોજના 100 શ્લોક વાંચું તોય મને 3 વર્ષ તો થશે. પણ 100 શ્લોક ખરેખર વંચાશે. ઘણી વાર તો એવું બને કે એક શ્લોકમાં જ તમે ગબડી જાઓ. You know? એક શ્લોકમાં જ તમને એવો રોમાંચ થઈ જાય કે ઓહો, so I'm on an adventure. અને એડવેન્ચર એ કે the reason of the Mahabharata is if we take the piece of the Gita out of Mahabharata alone without the Gita also gives us a lot of knowledge that in the life we live, a lot of disaster happen. In the general life, nobody has the life without disaster. Always there is something. And sometimes it come to you, sometimes you create it, whatever. That's a kind of thing. The things are moving on. કરણને કૃષ્ણએ બહુ ચોખવટ કરીને કહ્યું કે યુ આર ધી ઓલ્ડેસ્ટ પાંડવ. કરણને રિયલાઇઝ થયું, પણ જુઓ હવે શું થાય છે તે. એ તમસ ગુણવાળો નહીં હતો, પણ રજસમાં હતો. અર્જુનને કરી બતાવું, બસ એટલું જ એનો રજસ. અને એટલું બધું રજસ ગુણની અંદર કે સાત્વિકતામાં એ જમ્પ કરી જ ના શકે. આણે તો સાત્વિકતાને ક્રોસ કરવાની વાત કરી છે, પણ એ તો રજસને ચોંટી રહેલો છે. અને એ જે દરેક માણસો એક એક ત્રણમાંના એક એક ગુણને ચોંટી રહેલા છે, એટલા બધા સોલિડ, તે પરિસ્થિતિ માટે બીજો કોઈ ઉપાય નથી, કોઈ જ નહીં. ઘણી વખત we see in the national level politics that, well, they took this decision and then later on, if we ponder over, there is no other course, there is no other choice, there is no other nothing, kind of thing. But this Gita going on with the Aswatha tree concept, the sansar, he has advised to cut off many, many things in up to chapter 14, Don't go there, don't go there, don't go there, like that. And you are not an ordinary person. You are Tattvamasi. ત્યાં સુધી કહ્યું એને, ત્યાં સુધીનું જ્ઞાન આપી દીધું એને. હવે કંઈ બાકી રહેતું નથી. અને હવે રસ્તો ક્લિયર છે, ક્લીન. અને I don't think if you read the Gita many times, that's okay. But I think one time with studying very analytically, very concentratedly, taking the notes in the piece of paper, and then you ask the question, who are we? The answer comes. What should we do? The answer comes. What should we not do? The answer comes. And if you just make these 5 different lines, only 5, and you are on the road. મનને બધી ઇન્દ્રિયો ખેંચે ત્યાં તણાયા નહીં કરવું, આગારો જવામાં ભય છે. દરિયામાં જરા છપછપા આ કરીને બહાર નીકળી જાઓ, પણ પછી ભૂસકો મારીને અધવચ્ચે પડો. No. So all that thing, And one of the beauty is once you put your life into right perspective, even in your dream or even in your sleep, that habit will continue. હવે આનાથી બીજું વળી કયું સારું જો મનમાં ઈચ્છા રાખવાની ઊંઘમાં એ વળી
Agreed.
Thank you, Deepak. Very good question. Anyone else? Then we will move on this closing prarthana. Om sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhave asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurmamrutam gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So with this, I will stop the recording.
Thank you.
And then I will close the session. This recording is